Hey guys, it's Kip here from KDC Marketing, and in today's video, I want to talk about making the transition from the Wix editor to Wix Studio. If that's something that you've been thinking about and something that you want to do, I just want to share a few ideas that might be helpful. So the first thing is to understand that the Wix editor and Wix Studio share a lot of similarities and crossover in the dashboard and also in the apps. So the backend dashboard is pretty much identical, and then a lot of the apps share the same functionality. So if you take the Wix forms, for example, if you're using the new form builder in the Wix editor, that's exactly the same as how it functions in Wix Studio. So there's a lot of crossover there, and that will feel very familiar to you as you look at the dashboard and as you use the apps. The thing that will be the most different between the two is the design side of things, so the editor itself. And the main difference between the Wix editor and Wix Studio are the breakpoints. So in Wix Studio, you have three. You have desktop, tablet, and mobile, whereas in the Wix editor, you only have two, desktop and mobile. And then in Wix Studio, you have the layers panel and the design panel, which are critical in order to build successful websites in Wix Studio. The other thing is you have to understand padding and margins and docking and some other things that are only available in Wix Studio that you don't have as much access to in the Wix editor. So if you feel like you have a lot of gaps in between the two editors, which I know I did when I first started, I would say just test out some websites. Start testing out some free websites inside of Wix Studio. Maybe look at a few templates and see how they've been designed. And then there's a lot of great resources online to learn Wix Studio. So there's a lot of YouTube videos, like the ones that I create. Wix Studio themselves also puts out some pretty great tutorials, and there's some other YouTube channels that have that content. So there's ways to learn. And I would recommend writing down the different questions that you have, and kind of storing that information so that as you go, you can build upon the knowledge that you have. But it does take practice and it does take time, and there is a learning curve. And sometimes there's some things that take way too long to figure out on Wix Studio. But if you have good information, then you're going to be better off. And then the last thing I would say is if you're looking for something more comprehensive than those, I do have an online course called Mastering Wix Studio, where I go step by step through how to build websites from scratch. So I start at the beginning, go all the way to the end. And the reason I created that online course is because I wanted a resource like that when I first started learning Wix Studio, but there wasn't one that I could find online that was going to work for me. So if you want something more comprehensive where you can also ask questions and get a little bit more help, hands-on help, learning Wix Studio, then that course is available. You can purchase it, but there's a lot of really great free content out there as well. And one of the best ways to learn is just to take a deep dive and get started. And sometimes it'll be frustrating and there'll be things that will be difficult, but I'm really grateful that I made the transition to Wix Studio, and now I know both platforms. And my default platform now is Wix Studio now, so I've made kind of the full transition, but I still have clients on both platforms. I still like the Wix editor and Wix Studio. Both have their strengths and weaknesses, but if you're thinking about making that transition, then hopefully some of those ideas that I shared are helpful and can help you as you start to close the gap. So hope you found these tips to be helpful, and I will see you in the next video.